Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Well, my name is Nick Klein, and I own the Hostile Homestead, Hostile Hare and Casa Grande Quail. I am a rabbit farmer, so I'm a mass murderer of the cute and fluffy. I teach people how to grow their own food and then supply them with the equipment to get the job done.
Awesome. And where are you located?
I'm in Casa Grande, Arizona, just south of Phoenix.
Okay, cool. So how did you get into this industry in the first place?
And it's a wild story. So I'm a bit of a pyro and an alternative fuels geek. And I was playing around with something called gasification, where basically you extract hydrocarbons out of biomass with the intention of using it as a fuel. And I wanted to pelletize unorganized biomass. And in order to do that, instead of buying a pelletizer that would cost me electricity, I bought 5 rabbits. And those 5 rabbits, I was able to feed unorganized biomass like grass clippings and hay and willow switches, things like that. And they turn it into the perfect little bunny Cocoa Puffs. And then I could run those through my gasification system, extract hydrocarbons, run engines on it. But rabbits did what rabbits do best, and 5 turned into 50 in about 8 months. And I started selling baby rabbits. And as I sold rabbits, I kept finding more and more business for the bunnies and had to shelf my gasification project. And this rabbit business landed in my lap, and I had rabbits to sell. So I pursued it, and turned out I was pretty good at building cages and turned it into a business. But I'll tell you this, the school counselor did not set me aside and say, you ought to be a rabbit farmer when you grow up. That wasn't in the cards. But you roll with what drops in your lap sometimes.
That's awesome. So in terms of your customers, are they local in Arizona or nationwide? What does that look like?
Well, that's why I divided up the business into 2 separate DBAs. Hostile Hare is my cage and equipment manufacturing business, and I sell that nationwide. A lot of rabbit raisers around the globe, some of them in Canada, some in Mexico I've sold to. But yeah, that's what Hostile Hare focuses on, is the cages and the housing and the tools needed to raise rabbits, because they ship easy enough. And then Casa Grande Quail is where I sell my rabbit meat, quail meat, and quail eggs. And then I also do classes here locally under that name as well. So
Awesome.
it's easier to advertise and direct things to one website instead of having them all jumbled into one. You can see who's looking at you. Does that
Makes
make
sense.
sense?
Yeah, yeah. So do you sell B2B or is it more like direct to consumer?
Both. I have a number of meat distributorships that buy rabbit and quail from me to sell to their customers. And then technically anybody who's filing a Schedule F as a farm is a business. So if you're buying cages, I mean, if you're getting into the rabbitry, rabbit husbandry, I mean, you're looking at $1,000 startup cost if you want to make it a business. You might as well have an LLC. You might as well talk to your CPA and see what kind of tax breaks there are, and what you should be doing to really maximize the use of your farm. And so yeah, there's some hobby guys out there that are buying onesie twosie rabbits from me in cages. But I mean, if you're going to have animals, well, here, when I first started, I had those 5 rabbits. It would take me half an hour a night to take care of them. About a year later, I had 1,600 head of rabbits, and it would take me half an hour a night to take care of them. So for the same amount of time investment, granted there was more infrastructure in 1,600 head than there was with 5, but your time is the most valuable resource. And if you really want to, leverage that resource, time, you might as well have enough rabbits that half an hour is a full block of time that you're using. It'll take you more the more rabbits you have. But it was just funny that 5 rabbits took me half an hour, and then 1,600 rabbits took me half an hour. It's just really a test to the infrastructure. But anyways, I digress. What it's taught me though is what you spend on your business, you need to really pay attention to that in taxes and really get the most that you can back and watch your tax appetite.
Makes sense. So in terms of getting in front of your customers, like do you run ads? Do you do email cold calling? Like how have you gotten like in front of your customers and growing your business?
I just had this scenario play out in my head. Could you imagine cold calling somebody? Say, hey, are you interested in buying some rabbit meat? Have you had rabbit meat? Let me tell you, it's delicious. I'm gonna have to pull out the phone book and just run amok with that and try it. That's a good idea. No, I actually I spent a lot of time on social media doing informational videos, doing how to process rabbits, how to distinguish genders in rabbits, and just general things like that. I have a lot of TikTok videos. I have a lot of blogs that I've written on the subjects, and I just try and get as much info out there that'll help people as much as I can. And with that, the SEO helps and it drives people to the site. But I'm only bringing in about 7,000 views a month on my website. Well, one's got 7,000, the other one's got 10. But it's not something that I'm spending money on advertising right now. Occasionally, I'll go to like the Homesteaders of America, and I'll run ads with them. They've got a pretty good deal for that, and I try to make sure that I'm spending money in my field. Like I don't want to just dump $1,000 into Facebook ads and hope for the best.
Right.
I look at people where they're participating, where my community is, and there's actually so that's for the cage side of things. I sell a lot of cages to, or I advertise a lot with Homesteaders America, but there is an app for local meat and product sales. It's called Farmish. GetFarmish.com has it. It's not my app. It's just one that I've fallen in love with the concept. It's a farmer's market in your pocket. You pull that up, you see who's selling what in your area, and I've got my rabbits listed on there, rabbit meat, quail meat, and I even have a little ad for cages on there as well. But the focus of it is to help farmers sell directly to consumers without having to get a distributorship or have to wholesale their goods. They can full retail to people that are using their product. Cuts out the middleman, it cuts out all of that. It saves money for the consumer and it makes money for the farmer. So definitely check out Farmish. Even if you're not like specifically looking for rabbits or something like that, just see who's selling what in your area. You could get potted plants as well. So
Right. For sure.
I didn't mean to
So
turn that into an ad for Farmish, but it's
hey,
a good
yeah,
resource.
for sure. So in terms of like, so you mentioned, right, like, your community and creating like, this content. So essentially from what I'm understanding is that you've built this sort of, you could say community like around this industry and you are seen as like a thought leader. People find you by Googling about rabbits and they find you through SEO. And then from there, it's kind of like a lead magnet to get more people in the door to look at your products.
A lot of my sales come from referrals. Like I'm going to toot my own horn here because this is the venue to do it. But I build the best cages for the best price that you can get. All of the welded wire that I use is inch by half inch. It saves the babies from falling out of the cages, and it's quality material. In fact, I had the rare opportunity to. I went through Reddit one day just on a whim on one of the rabbit things, and somebody had posted, is Hostile Hare a scam? So what? Why would you think that? And I clicked on her post and she's like, their prices are so good that there's no way that they're making money on these cages. And I was like, well, I guess I need to increase my prices then. But I click on it, and underneath there was a bunch of people. No, we bought cages from there. They're really good, and like all of these good things that people were saying about me, and like I almost started crying, man. I was like, I'm not much of a crier, but it's like these people were talking me up. It was like heartwarming. I'm like, oh hell yeah. But uh, but yeah, so I went and I increased my prices. No, just kidding. But yeah, it was really cool to see that. And like it wasn't an advertisement that I put out there. It made me feel good.
Yeah, but I guess like once somebody buys from you once, like how do you measure that customer lifetime value? Like, do you have like other products that you reach back out to about like what does that look like?
Well, and that's what's rough. I I sell cages that don't go bad. So it's hard to have repeat customers other than when they're ready to expand their rabbitry. One of the things that I'm playing around with is an affiliate program. The one that I've got, it's a little clunky, so I gotta like really dive into it and figure it out more and then do like a training video on how to use it. But I've got that going, and then I had this idea that these people are raising rabbits all around the US. If I could hook them up as wholesalers, if I could sell them a bulk set of cages, they buy 15 cages that are flat packed, sitting in their farm somewhere, so that when people come out to buy rabbits, they can upsell and say, "Well, it looks like you're probably going to need a cage. Let me assemble one real quick for you." Sell it at a 40% markup from what I sold it to them for, and now they are a value added retailer. Because they've got the rabbits, they've got the cages, and now instead of them calling me and talking bunnies, they're going to go to my retailer to talk about rabbits, and that's going to be everybody that's raising the rabbits, it's dealing with people. They like training people as well. It's there's some old timers that are kind of gatekeeping, but most of the rabbit raising community, they are helpful. They want people to have control of their own food supply. And we got 330 million people eating 3 meals a day in this country. Somebody's got to feed them.
For sure. Well, I was curious, right? Like, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you face in your business?
Oh, I guess the initial being taken serious when I introduced myself as a rabbit farmer. It's not a challenge, but I've actually gotten to where I like it. Like when I introduce myself to somebody, as I introduce them here, I say, "Yeah, I'm Mass Murder, the cute and fluffy. Nice to meet you." And they go, "What?" I like that shock value. But no, it's trying to find funding for projects and stuff. It's like, who's going to take serious a rabbit farm? And then you drop a number like, "Well, I sell rabbit meat for $10 a pound, and I produce 3,500 pounds of rabbit a month." What other business is going to do that without having to spend 60 grand startup or more?
Right.
I mean, you're looking at about $120 per compartment per animal, and then the animals are $20 to $50 a piece, and your ROI is 6 months. And that's generous. That's a generous time gap. So you're tapping into that pretty quick.
What are some of your big objectives in 2024, like for this year to be like successful for you?
I want to launch my training program. I think I can help a lot. Like I'm fielding 2 or 3 45-minute phone calls a day. And yes, they are a way that I can sell cages and stuff, and there's income generated from that. But I feel like I can help more people if all they have to do is download a video, go through Rabbits 101, hit the high points, and then if they've got questions, they can just email me. It'll be a little bit more time efficient and effective. So I think that's my biggest goal for 2024 is that, and then also adding on to the processing facility so I can get 2 more people working for me at a time. But right
That's
now we
awesome.
run 3 at a time. I'd like to get that up to 5 or possibly even 6 people working at a time processing.
Awesome. So obviously now in 2024, many companies are using things like AI. So do you guys use AI at the hair or not?
No, and I think that's one of the selling points of what I do is it's you're going to get your fingers dirty. You're going to get into the business of farming, and it's not so necessary. Like I've got a digital footprint. My face is all over social media, but it's not necessary to run AI to do what I do. Now,
But do you,
granted, it's a tool that I've looked at. I just don't like. I like writing my own stuff. Like I
right.
tried generating blogs with AI, and you can generate it and you can look at it and it'll tell you its sources and all of that, but it doesn't feel like me. So it's a good tool for like if you don't know much on a subject and you want to get a quick rundown on it, some talking points, and maybe use that as a starting point and branch off from that. But I wouldn't just do a straight up make me a blog about rabbits or quail or
But do you
something.
feel like AI could add value if like it was like on your website and somebody had questions about your business or your products?
Oh, and just like use it as a directional tool for people
Yeah, like a
logging
chat or
into the website.
something. Yeah.
I could see how that would be helpful, but part of what I do, like I hired high school boys to work for me
Got it.
because nobody's teaching them how to weld and build stuff or animal husbandry. So I really get a kick out of teaching them these things And one of the things that I do is I teach them how to teach, and they stand in on my classes. And one of the things that I would like to do is have a call forwarding thing so that they can answer questions from people that are logging into the website. So yes, it's a helpful tool. AI would be a helpful tool there, but I also see it as an opportunity missed where my kids can do that same task. And I'm not anti AI. I'm not John Connor over here or anything, but I see it as a responsibility that I can pass on to one of the kids that work for me, and then I can pay them a commission when they close the sale.
Yeah, for sure.
And but I see where it would be. It could be a helpful tool for somebody whose goal isn't that. That
For
makes sense.
sure.
Like I'm not talking bad about it. I just
Yeah, yeah. What would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
learn how to keep books better than I did. It's like my ADHD. I'm severe ADHD. I jump from project to project to project, and it's helpful to come up with all these ideas. And you seek the dopamine going after this project and doing this thing and doing that, jumping back and forth, multitasking. I feel best when I'm at the center of chaos. The problem is bookkeeping, the back office stuff that you need to do for your business. That's not a dopamine supply to me. So I guess advice that I would give myself 10 years ago would be hire somebody that's analytical to run that back office stuff. Keep all of that, print out the packing slips and the shipping labels and keep track of inventory. I would say that would have been a good investment back in '09 when I started this. But, as a small business owner, you wear a ton of hats. I mean, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm CEO, CFO, and the freaking janitor. You got it all. It's all lined up. But
100%.
that would be good advice that I would have given myself a while back.
Yeah, especially starting out. I mean, you have to like learn all these things. And I think to your point,
Yes.
there's no like manual for these things. It's like you kind of
No.
just learn by doing.
Keep failing until you figure it out. I guess that's the good advice is don't stop on a failure. Keep shoving forward. Every test question you get wrong is an opportunity to learn. So, keep pushing forward. You'll learn it. You'll keep going. And then one thing that I didn't figure out until later on was if you hire two people that can do 70% of what you do, you've got 140% of yourself working. Does that make sense? Like that
Yeah.
that rule really hit home, and I learned it like 5 years ago. And so 5 years ago, I was like, I need to hire two people, and I did. I hired two people, and they did great, and I it got me out of my shell of, oh, I need to do this, oh, I need to do that, I need to do that. No, if you can get comfortable with delegating to good people working for you, that's how you really expand your sphere of influence. That's how you can help more people.
So
So that's
true. Awesome. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social
oh, sure.
media? I guess best ways to get in contact.
If you search Hostile Hare, like an angry rabbit, Hare, I pop up everywhere. I'm on like it's at hostile.hair or hostile hare on everything. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. No, just kidding. I don't have one of those. I considered it though, because it was meant for a teaching platform. I thought, oh, that'd be funny to do like some videos of me in like overalls, like, hey, come check out my OnlyFans. And then it's just me talking about rabbits.
Yeah,
It would
somebody's
get
got to get
canceled.
behind that paywall to, get the
Yeah.
exclusive rabbit content. Yeah. Exactly.
but
Awesome. Well,
but yeah,
thank you so much for your time today. Of
yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
course. All right. Bye.